If you know anything about journalism, you probably know that journalists aren't usually personally connected to the subjects that they write about. But I think that this subject, the story of life in Moncure, North Carolina, can only be told by the voices of those who live there. I'm one of those voices, and Moncure is the place that I've called home for 9 years. So, many months ago, I set out with my camera and my interview questions to try and tell a tiny piece of the story. The photos and spoken article here are the results of that endeavor. The first thing most people will tell you about my town is that it is tiny by any stretch of the imagination. In 2010, the U.S. Census reported that its total population was 711. I took my friend on a tour of Moncure the other day, and they called it a piece of Americana. I'm in absolute agreement. There's no high school in town, so most residents in grades 9 through 12, including myself, attend Northwood High School in nearby Pittsboro. There's not a grocery store unless you count the few items in Ray's supermarket, and no restaurant if you disregard the Jordan Dam Country Kitchen, which boasts a weekly menu that often includes selections such as meatloaf, fried okra, black-eyed peas, and barbecue chicken. The one school in Moncure is, of course, called Moncure School. There are 284 students currently attending the kindergarten through 8th grade, according to its school report card. That is a stark increase since the days when I attended. Still, though, most grades of children in Moncure stay in the same classroom group as they move up through the grades. It's quite possible that a current Moncure 8th grade student has been in a class group with the same 20 or so kids since kindergarten. The town keeps its heritage through a steady, well-attended stream of events. There's an annual 5-kilometer running race, vacation Bible school camps in some of the town's churches. There are at least 7. And events at nearby Jordan Dam, a project headed up by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. I caught up with Laura Witcher at that road race, known colloquially as the Panther Prowl 5K. She has 3 daughters, each of whom have spent time attending or are currently attending Moncure School. Moncure is a great community, Witcher said. It's small, which means that a lot of people know everybody. But if you don't know somebody, you know somebody who does. She prefers to describe the town with the phrase, "You move in and you're a part of the team." There's definitely a feeling of camaraderie, Witcher says. When you tell someone that you're in Moncure, there is, "Oh, I know so-and-so. Do you do this? Do you do that? You guys have a great this." Whatever it is, there's always this feeling of, "Oh yeah, you're part of the team." We don't do all the fire department stuff, but it doesn't really matter. That used to be, I think, the center of everything. But it's still part of the whole team. Though there are notable exceptions, an aura of religious right-wing thinking seems to permeate my community. There's the National Rifle Association sign hanging inside the local Ray's supermarket, a sign on the door reading "Guns Welcome" on premises. The homes in the main section of town evoke a sense of being stuck in the past, to being thrust back into the 1950s or earlier. But still, citizens quite obviously demonstrate a characteristic New Age care of the environment. The words "No fracking" have been painted on multiple signs and placed neatly yet proudly in Moncure yards. The signs seem to usher cars out of town as they head down Moncure-Pittsboro Road and into the more bustling nearby community of Pittsboro. Moncure local Julian Thomas lives somewhere along this road. He is 84 years old and has lived in the area his entire life. "I enjoy Moncure," Thomas said. "I really enjoy living here. It's such a good place. There's not much crime going on in all of that." I caught up with him while he reposed at a table in the Jordan Dam Mini-Mart. In characteristic Moncure fashion, he opened up to me quickly about his experience in the past and present, all the while referring to me as ma'am. "I look forward to coming down here," Thomas said, when asked about his habit of frequenting the Jordan Dam Mini-Mart. "The people who are working here, they're good people." Later, I made the short trip down the road to the other hub of Moncure, Ray's Supermarket. The store was established in 1955 by a gentleman the current owner, Kevin Stone, refers to as Mr. Ray. Mr. Ray, it turns out, lived in the nondescript house that sits adjacent to the store. Back in the old days, Stone said, Mr. Ray would get off work, close the store, and walk right home. Stone refers to his shop as one of the last of the Mohicans. He bought it in 2002. Outside, between 2 ancient-looking gas pumps, sits a cement mold of a pig. Inside the store are more homages to that quintessential North Carolinian mammal. "I love barbecue, so I collect pigs," Stone explained. As Stone rings up orders for several customers, a train whistle blows in the background. It's indubitably from a train crossing through town over near the post office. Behind the counter sits what he says is a cash register from the 1920s. As I listen, I discover more examples of life from days long gone. "We're not really politically correct here at Ray's," Stone said, a customer interjecting, "No, we're not." "And we're not going to be," he continues. A few minutes later, he shared his opinion regarding the Second Amendment. "An armed society is a polite society. I'm a firm believer in that." He instructs me to take a photo of his "Guns Welcome on Premises" sign. When asked what he liked about a small-time establishment such as Ray's, Stone referred to the customer who stood paying at the counter. "We know each other," Stone said. "I know that he likes to ride bicycles and go across the street and visit, different things like that. If you go to Walmart, they don't know your name, but if you come into Ray's, they generally do. If you come in more than once, we'll know your name and what you like to drink and what tobacco you chew and what chicken you eat." As Stone said, it doesn't take long for someone to become known in Moncure. Witcher appreciated the speedy acceptance of new members of the community. She says, "In a lot of places, if you didn't grow up there, you're an outsider. And they don't do that here. For a lot of years, I took my town for granted. I was almost ashamed of its small size, its lack of excitement, and reluctance to change. But soon I'll live in another town, a town larger and less personal than Moncure. And I won't soon forget these precious months I spent documenting this community and the years that I spent living here. No matter where I go, I'll still call it home."
This boat isn't